most of you are not non-historians. You probably have heard already about craft guilds. Craft guilds are organizations of professional colleagues, organizations of shoemakers, cabinet makers, bakers, and so on. And these organizations in a certain city, they had the collective right, they called it the privilege, to manufacture a certain range of products. Old shoemakers who wanted to produce shoes in a city and sell shoes in a city had to be a member of the guild. So what is important to know is that the dominant logic in these guilds was membership. Membership was mandatory for every entrepreneur in the sector in the city in question. You could acquire membership in two ways: by birth, if your father was a master shoemaker. If you were not a master son, your route to membership through apprenticeship. And you had to make a master test. And then you obtained the right to make and sell the products in question in the city in question and use the collective hallmark defined by the guilds as well. So it's about membership and the way it's linked to product quality and skills and technical knowledge. But at the same time, of course, it happened on a certain territory. And what I want to show here is that this is a city with walls and gates. So the question then is, how was membership linked to that urban context, which is also a territorial context? Among historians, there was a lot of discussion about how exclusionary these guilds were. From an economic logic, if you exclude people and you only have a monopoly within the city itself, you cannot prevent people from making the same shoes in neighboring villages, for instance. And secondly, you see that the guild's members themselves and the guild boards themselves also try to include people, incorporate people. For instance, cities in the Duchy of Brabant, what is now Belgium, cities like Brussels, Leuven, Antwerp, they agreed among each other that an apprenticeship term finished in one city would give you access to mastership, to membership of the guild in the other city. And they had reciprocal systems guaranteeing that. So this is more based, again, I think, on a membership logic than it is on a territorial logic. Or at least guilds try to reconcile or find a middle path between these two logics. And the membership logic was a political logic, a logic of becoming part of a political community, which was then based on a certain territory. And related to that, you had to take part in collective rituals, social activities. There were parades in which you had to take part. And this is a famous parade on the Brussels, that's the same square, in which you see guild members dressed as guild members taking part as a group, as a collective. And this is just to illustrate the religious context in which this happens. This is a patron saint of the Antwerp bakers, Saint Hubertus. And in the background, you see some bakers and some bread. And all this is actually linked to each other by the use of hallmarks. So the hallmark can also only be used by those who have trained and are therefore connected to people who are active in one city. It's tied to the religious context as well, the honesty of the artisan and the piety of the artisan and so on. So the hallmark actually also links product quality very much to a cultural identity and a political status. These hallmarks, they guarantee certain qualities which, as a customer, you cannot see with the naked eye. You cannot see whether a cabinet maker has used the right, high quality leather, or whether a silver spoon has the right alloy. So the guarantee, the quality mark creates market transparency and trust, which is necessary. And I think a quality mark in that sense can be used in a modern day context as well. From an economic perspective, it's a matter of finding out what a customer today would value, and then guaranteeing that with with a hallmark, with a quality mark, with a certificate or whatever. But it can also have a non-economic logic. Of course, you can also guarantee fair trade or sustainability or fairness in a market and so on.